Let's look at the element air. So what we're dealing with air is we're dealing with, let's look at these words. So we have dryness and expansion. Okay, air is opposite to water. It decreases hydration. It maintains charge. It promotes rigidity of form. It restricts access across forms, causing friction, like with brakes. It inhibits mixing. It crosses boundaries without destroying boundaries. It's a medium of refinement and organization. So with those elements, again, when I explain that, we see the element, we feel air, and we identify with these words. Yes, it decreases hydrogen or hydration. When you blow, it dries things off. Yes, the static ion charge, it wants to maintain this charge. It has this dryness that it creates, right? So this is us just tapping into it, again, from the element, and few can actually associate that element to themselves because I explained the element. I didn't explain the human acting in the element. Okay? And this is why we all are a school for each other too. Because when I look at the element acting out through another person, I gain an entirely different relationship with what I just said. So watch this. Now we're going to go through this element when it's a human. And in this case, the air element is assigned to the Orient, or those that we would say are Asian. Okay? This brings to mind your airbenders, right? Like the last airbender, right? So that they were showing that Asian or Oriental culture, right? This is a yang type. Now, yin versus yang, just for the reference, yin will be like our dark and hidden, wavering, feminine, round, flexible, night, moon, passive. Okay? Our yang is light, obvious, direct, masculine, straight, solid, day. Okay, so this is just to understand when you're talking about a yang type, we're talking about that light, obvious, direct type. Okay, there's a nice composition of yin and yang available on the web. You know, if you want to just make sure you always understand when we're talking about yin versus a yang type, just as a quick reference, instead of saying, oh, I know the difference between those two, make sure you look up and you know the difference between those two. So your math is correct. Because when you're dealing with a yang type, then you know, well, I'll say this, that this is the advanced organizational skill. Okay, when air comes into the human type, it brings in these huge structural organizational things, like what you would see in the systems of like Kung Fu, the systems of like Tai Chi, even the governments themselves, the first governments. Remember, Sun Tzu and all of that was really the model for the government. So in the emperors, in the Mongolians, that was really the model for the government. So you can see that organizational skill is really within the Orient. Air has this element in itself of dignity. It raises itself higher. So if you can then see in those Oriental settings, like the Japanese setting, everything is about dying with honor, and it's about honor and dignity. Okay? Now, this you will find then is when you have this art, you have this architecture, you have this writing really sitting at the forefront of the civilization and the society. This is when the air element is at play. And also, even when we can say breathing, the art of breathing, what we learn from breathing, we can always associate the masters of the breathing with the Orient. Okay, because they are air. And so now when you're able to see it that way, you start seeing in a society, and I'm going to also talk about, a little bit of the negative side of the element, like, because we would say the element has a positive and a negative. And in this case, we're saying the negative is when it starts to have entropy, when it starts to slow down, when it stops not being itself. So if we look at the Orient right now, that organizational structure, like if we look at China, we can see that the organizational structure has gone into now the negative air component now, where every single part of society, what a person's doing, watching everything they're doing, telling them what to do, telling them who to be. Now they're experiencing that negative side of the air element. But it's that same system, but now they're bringing in like an ultra system to where it is starting to breach the boundaries.
The following clip is exclusive content from the Innerversity. Access over 300 videos and 26 courses with advanced metaphysics on demand. Jump in live chats with Sevan and the rest of the tribe. New materials are available monthly along with guides and regimens. Subscribe today and save $25 off your first month membership. Links are in the descriptions. Subscribe to Secret Energy TV or this channel for future show notifications.